Apparently, Alex Stein's making a documentary on me. I'm excited to see the work Alex does. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed in this documentary. I think it would only be fair that Stein puts me in the documentary about me. I think it's kind of hack when people do documentaries about people and they don't let them in. So if Stein does a documentary on me, I don't want any editorial control. I want the story to be told truly from the eyes of an outsider. But, I'm an attention whore. I'll take a little press. You want to sit me down for an interview. Chop it up however the you want to. Just get my face and my name and, maybe a link to the YouTube and PayPal, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, gifted memberships, That's all. Taste Ferre Alto says he should fly out and interview you in person at least. Yeah, I think it's only fair. Jane says Bert needs to star in it. Give him the link. Whenever Fish Tank is done, I want Bert on the show. That, to me, that's non-negotiable. I'm getting a hold of Alex, and Bert's going to be on this show, and we're having Bert on, and that's the end of that. Funeral director, you're right on time. He says $2. I'll pay money, but please discuss the John controversy. Yeah, John and Chad are still into it. I saw a clip of John. He was complaining about my analysis of the Chad Zumock Patreon thing. I thought this was funny because I don't watch John Melendez. I just really don't, because I just find that whole arc and the people who make money off him to be it's gross. But I saw him because he was talking about me and he was throwing a fit. And while he's throwing a fit about me, I'm sitting there going, John, if you just shut the up and listen to the clip, I say that in 2 minutes. And then John gets to that part of the clip and goes, no, I actually agree with that part. I'm like, you moron. He's terrible, man. He reported some videos that Chad did on Patreon. Oh, and I said that, and then he stopped it, and he goes, that's defamatory. That's defamatory, and I'll sue. John, just shut up and just file the lawsuits. You sound like a boomer when you say shit like, I'll sue. Stop it. You look ridiculous. You're a silly goose when you say things like, actionable. John, there's an old saying. It's called shit or get off the pot. You look like an asshole. So Chad Zumock is upset because John, in my opinion, all evidence points to the fact that here's what I don't get about John either. Do the shit you do the gay ops that you do, and just admit to it. Fess up. That's what I think of you. Own it. That's you're a skunk. You have a stinky spray, and that gay ops is your stinky spray. You're not a particularly tough guy. You're not a particularly funny guy. You're not a particularly acerbic guy who deconstructs people. We deconstruct Melton for fun, and then we set off all his audience members, and they go nuts on us. We're good at that. I do that very well. John, you don't do that very well. The one thing you do well is apparently you annoy people to the point where they obsess about you for years. It's a gift. You also strike their shit. You're shameless. That's your superpower, John. You're a shameless guy. Own it. Don't sit there and second of all, don't call yourself the Duke. It's embarrassing. But you've accomplished so much more than everyone else, right? Be comfortable in that and then say, I'm not going to allow you people to talk shit about me and I'm going to strike your shit. And just do it. But don't do it and then act incredulous when that means kind of bitchy. Don't act incredulous and you're hurt and upset when someone goes, yeah, John strikes channels and he, does gay ops on people. Do that and own it. That's your thing. But apparently Chad tweeted today. And I think numero uno Josh Denny fan got mad at him for doing this. He's like, do your own clipping, you lazy bitch. Chad Zumock said, does anyone have the clip of Stuttering John calling me a grifter today? And then immediately goes into saying he is coming to Atlantic City to fight me. Oh, God. Oh, God, with the I'm going to fight you. John, I do think Chad would kick your ass. Just he's younger. He's 40-something. You're 60-something. You're fat. It clearly looks like a lifetime of bad health decisions have taken their toll. Your skin looks like it's falling off. I'm not saying Chad's a tough guy. I'd beat the shit out of Chad with one hand. I don't feel any need to, but like Chad would beat the shit out of you, John. He said he's coming to Atlantic City to fight me if someone pays for his flight, hotel, and gives him shekels for spending money. Did he really do that? Come on, that's great. That's what I mean about John. He's not particularly funny, witty, acerbic, anything like that. I'll go fight Chad Zumach in Atlantic City because Chad Zumach's a grifter. That's what he said. Chad Zumach's a grifter. And if someone gives me flight, hotel, and spending money, I'll go up there and fight him. But don't worry, Chad's the grifter. But remember we were talking about Gino Bisconte and Pat Dixon, and they're both kind of down on their luck right now. Gino lost his YouTube channel. He's having to do shows on Rumble. And let's be honest, like Rumble is great as a temporary lifeboat. It really is. But like Rumble's limited. It's limited as a full-time option. You know, not if you're like Crowder or Bongino or any of those. They've got huge audiences that like if a percentage of their audience follows them somewhere, they're doing aces. They're doing great. But like a Pat Dixon, a Gino Bisconte, even a show this size, it's gonna be tough making your bones completely on Rumble. We've done it for a week or two at a time when we get suspended. We've been able to keep it afloat doing the Rumble thing, but like Pat, I have a hard time imagining Pat gets into the triple digits on Rumble. And Gino proposed the idea. And you got to give Gino credit for this. He's like, hey, I need some juice. I need people to talk about me. I lost my YouTube. I need to get in the clip channel circuit. I need to, make some noise, make some waves in this small little corner of the internet. So he proposed the idea of he and Pat Dixon doing a show together. There's a problem. Pat Dixon tweeted today, due to an ongoing order of protection related to an incident that occurred in June of 2022, I am legally prohibited from speaking to the victim until 2025, period. So it doesn't sound like that, unless like, could Gino sign something that would waive that? And then they could do this show that they're talking about? Does anyone, I guess I'll ask this question. Does anyone want to see a Gino and Pat Dixon show? I think people would like to see like maybe a one-off, like maybe Gino and Pat do an episode of Misery Loves Company, and Kevin would pay them both handsomely, and that would do very, very well in that circle. But as far as like a regular Gino and Pat show, I never found Pat Dixon funny to begin with. I like Gino, but like I don't think he and Pat would necessarily work well together. So maybe it's a blessing that Pat Dixon can't talk to Gino or can't talk about Gino, therefore they can't do a show together, because I can't imagine that Gino would, like that show would have any kind of long-term continuity, because I mean, number one, I think they'd probably end up hating each other a couple shows in. I don't see a lot of entertainment value. Alex Stein did a live stream yesterday, and he was, I've seen some clips of this live stream. I think Alex was killing it. I think Alex was doing a really, really good job. He talked about how he's going to do a steel toe documentary. He did a Ricada rap. He did. He bounced around all over the place a little bit. Then he commented on this thing that's kind of like the Dabbleverse. It's like the Hackverse, like what Chad does and all that. Like all those guys who drama and beef with each other. I think Ray DeVito. I think it's Melton, Chad, Ray DeVito. Those guys. They have their own little thing. It's called the Hackverse. Now I'm not part of the Hackverse. I just do a show. People are enamored with me. They need numbers. They can't get numbers. They'll bring up steel toe. I'm happy to give them the steel toe rub. Happy to do it. But this Hackverse thing, you'll note one thing I've noticed about them is that the people who watch it are really offensive of it. They are really sensitive. It's funny. The people who troll the hardest tend to have the hardest time with people who don't take offense to the trolling. It seems to upset them. Alex Stein criticized the Hackverse on his show yesterday. Alex said some very on-point things. I don't even know why fans of those podcasts would even find what Alex said offensive, but if you go down in the comments section, oh boy, did Alex make them seethe. And it's like, I've said way worse about these people and way more, just as accurate things and, much more, hostile or, confrontational way. And they get really sensitive. They don't take it well when it comes back at them. So here's Alex Stein commenting on the Hackverse. And boy, did this make them salty. I'm sorry if you are one. I apologize. I know you guys get sensitive. I'm just calling it as I say. I'm calling balls and strikes. You don't want me to say it? Don't be it.
Out of the Hackverse, it's garbage. Yes, it is. It is. And that's no disrespect to some of the Dukes of the Dabbleverse, anything like that. But it is a toxic, terrible place full of degenerate people that have very low moral standards and do not care about hurting others in order to gain some sort of quick self-gratification that will actually only make them more sad in the long run. So,
boom. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. I can see why they're sensitive in the comments. But, like, if I could give these Hackverse fan people, or the Discord dwellers and things like that, if I could give you a little advice, if you would just lighten up a little bit, like, you don't have to let this shit get to you. What Alex said is correct. And I think maybe that's the reason you guys take it so hard, is that deep down he's right. And you kind of don't like hearing it. I get it. I used to be that way. You grow out of it. You find some other shit to occupy your time.
Yeah, it's a bad place. It's not a good place. Not for the faint of heart. Look at this. Mr. Kill Everything. How come you never read my super chats? Mr. Kill Everything, I didn't see your super chat. And I definitely do not want heat with Mr. Kill Everything. See, this is the dabble. This is the stuff that I talk about, because I like Joey C. I like these people in this Dabbleverse. I like Mr. Kill Everything. I like the people in it. But I have serious issues.
Here's the problem. They don't know how to meet genuine, like, people liking them, Alex. That's the problem. Is like, you say, I like you, and they're so autistic that they go like, yeah, I have to meet admiration with a flamethrower. It's just, and it's not even their fault. They're just kind of built that way. You feel for them.
So my taste isn't probably your average person's taste. And speaking of, I have Australian friends that message me and to talk about the Dabbleverse as well. So I like you, Mr. Kill Everything. If I saw your super chat, I obviously didn't see it. I would have read it. So I apologize if you sent one.
Look. Okay, Alex is making my point right now. Look at how he's tiptoeing from these people, because he's like, these psychopaths will write 18 things in a row about how upset they are because you didn't read their super chat. So Alex is trying to salve the wound right now, which technically shouldn't even be a wound.
Didn't read it. Second thing is, I like you, Mr. Kill Everything. I don't want heat with Mr. Kill Everything. I don't want heat with any of these guys.
See?
Mr. Kill Everything is funny. He rips cigarettes and he's like aggressive, and I think it's hilarious. Keep it up, Mr. Kill Everything. I want no bad blood. And I'm sorry if I missed your super chat.
He's exhausted already talking about this shit.
And with all my heart.